Hey, I'm Ron McKinnon from WhoKnowsThisStuff.com. Today we're going to be talking about wind energy and how we can utilize wind energy to reduce our dependence on fossil fuel. Let's go take a look at how it can help us. Who Knows This Stuff interviewed several consumers, a little man on the street action if you will, on what they thought of when they consider what alternative or renewable energy is. The overwhelming majority of the responses said wind energy or wind power. When asked a follow-up question, like, how does that energy get to my light switch, most respondents didn't have an answer to that. So we wanted to provide a segment to help answer those basic questions on how this technology works. The terms wind energy or wind power ultimately describes the process of how wind is transformed into electricity. Wind is very abundant in many parts of the world. Wind energy is a free, renewable resource, so no matter how much is used today, there will still be the same supply in the future, unlike fossil fuel. When we see large wind turbines, either while driving around the countryside or via media outlets, we see these giant turbines similar to aircraft propeller blades spinning on a breezy day. Wind turbines are often grouped together into a single wind power plant, also known as a wind farm, and generate bulk electrical power. So in its most basic sense, we asked, how does that electricity get to my home or office?
But if you were to go out in the fields here, the electricity comes down from the nacelle on a cable. It goes underground and it goes to the substation. And one of the characteristics that the developers were interested in with this wind farm is that at the end of the row we do have a substation. So the electricity is in an underground cable, and it goes to the substation and then is ramped up and goes out on the line.
And from there, that energy comes to a substation just like this behind me, located in your municipality, in your city, town, or your village. And from that substation, it comes into your neighborhood in another transformer, and then it's delivered from here to your house. And we flip the switch, and that's how wind energy gets to your home or business. Carol Anderson is a landowner in Iowa County, Wisconsin, who has 4 turbines installed on her land. Carol has helped Who Knows This Stuff get a better understanding of how these large wind turbines will help generate electricity for years to come, and then what countries in the world are utilizing wind technology.
In terms of production, you see countries like China and India making great strides. Germany had been the #1 wind producer until this past year. And I think you also have to think about where a lot of the wind generation is taking place across the country. Texas tends to be #1 or is #1 at all times, and Iowa and Minnesota keep jockeying back and forth in terms of who's second. And I think both of them are getting closer to 10% of their energy coming from wind, and that they have a number of projects that are currently in construction as well as online.
Wind energy is a free, renewable resource. Wind energy is also a source of clean, non-polluting electricity. Unlike conventional power plants, wind plants emit no air pollutants or greenhouse gases. In fact, according to the American Wind Energy Association, the U.S. wind energy industry shattered all previous records in 2008 by installing over 8,500 megawatts of new generating capacity. That's enough to serve over 2 million homes. For the 4th year, wind power was second only to natural gas in terms of new capacity added. Along with the increased growth in wind energy capacity comes jobs. As a matter of fact, according to the American Wind Energy Association, approximately 85,000 people are currently employed in the wind industry today. That is up from 50,000 1 year ago. The recent growth of the wind power industry has also accelerated job creation in manufacturing, where the share of domestically manufactured wind turbine components has grown from under 30% in 2005 to about 50% in 2008. Although wind power plants have relatively little impact on the environment compared to fossil fuel power plants, there is some concern over the noise produced by the rotor blades, aesthetic impacts, and birds and bat mortality rates by flying into the rotors. Most of these problems have been resolved or greatly reduced through technological development or by properly siting wind power plants.
I think one of the things that we probably need to do a little more thinking about, or making sure that we know what the research is some of the negatives that people will bring up, because one that people will bring up is concern about the avian population, and I think it's justified. When you're siting a wind farm, you have to think about, are you on a bird fly, are you not on a bird fly? With this particular wind farm, we have not had any avian problems at all. We do see eagles come south from the Wisconsin River in the wintertime, and they kind of like to glide through the area where they are, and we worry about them, but so far they've all gone home. So we've been thankful about that. I think another thing people will be concerned about is the sound. And on a day when it's windy and the corn stalks are drying like they are right now, the sound of the corn stalks whistling in the wind has a greater sound than the turbines do.
Though wind energy is a form of renewable energy that is here to stay, the reality of it is that it will take a collaboration of many alternative and renewable energies to make a difference. As not one form or another is any better than the other, just that it will take a combined effort to make it all happen.
We have to think about collaboration.
Right.
And partnerships and all of those types of things. And sometimes we don't always work real well together. We try, but it's the kind of thing that I think we have to find successes. And when we find successes, we get quite enthusiastic about it. And I think we're seeing more of those. So I think we'll see more taking place. When I look at some of the research and look at what's going on. Wind will be one of the alternatives, but in some parts of the country, wind is not as strong as what it is here in the upper Midwest, and solar probably will be a very popular. And I think even in our small communities here, we're seeing solar decisions being made, and people are implementing those kinds of strategies. So, it's looking at what makes sense in a particular area. And I'll give you one example, or another thing to think about is that wind tends to have seasons, and like we're moving, it's early October, and we're moving into probably the better wind season, because the prevailing wind in this area comes out of the northwest. And you get into August and early September, and we have very limited amounts of wind. So, you look at how do you put solar, how do you put the bios together, and with the wind package.
But we can do it.
Right, we can do it.
Right. Well, that about wraps up our segment on commercial wind farm technology. I'd like to reiterate what Carol said earlier about collaborative efforts in renewables. There's not one renewable technology in America that's going to solve all of our energy problems. It's going to take a collaborative effort between wind technology, solar thermal, solar PV, biomass, biofuels. At whoknowsthisstuff.com, it's our mission to bring these technologies to you and to simplify them for you. Check back to whoknowsthisstuff.com for upcoming episodes. Who knows this stuff? We do. Simplifying renewable energy.